One of the most complicated parts of being in your 20s is figuring out where you end and where someone else begins. And I don't just mean in romantic relationships. It could be with parents, friends, even mentors. The psychology of enmeshment is about those invisible lines we sometimes lose. When love, care, or connection becomes so intense that it blurs into control, guilt, or dependency. I'm a mind and life strategist in my late 20s, and I've seen this pattern over and over again, not just in others, but in myself. At first, enmeshment feels like closeness. It feels like love. You share everything. You make decisions together. You take on each other's feelings like they're your own. But over time, it starts to feel suffocating because your identity slowly gets lost in the mix. Psychologically, enmeshment often begins in families. Maybe you grew up in a home where boundaries didn't really exist. Your parents might have leaned on you emotionally or expected you to play roles you weren't ready for. And when you carry that into adulthood, it shows up in friendships and relationships. You feel guilty for saying no. You confuse someone else's happiness with your own. You sacrifice your needs so you don't rock the boat. The thing is, our brains crave connection. But without healthy boundaries, that connection becomes entanglement. Instead of I love you and I'm here for you, it turns into I can't function without you, and you can't without me. The thing is, our brains crave connection. But without healthy boundaries, that connection becomes entanglement. Instead of I love you and I'm here for you, it turns into I can't function without you, and you can't without me. Here's the lesson. Boundaries don't mean distance. They mean clarity. They mean you can love someone without losing yourself. You can care without carrying the entire weight of their emotions. And you can be close without being consumed. When you start to draw those lines, you give both yourself and the other person room to breathe, to grow, to become whole on your own terms. So, how do you know if you're caught in enmeshment? Ask yourself, do I feel guilty when I prioritize myself? Do I feel like someone else's happiness depends on me? Do I know where my identity ends and theirs begins? If those questions make you pause, that's your signal. The first step is awareness. The next is practicing small boundaries, saying no without over-explaining, taking time for yourself without guilt, learning that love and independence can exist at the same time. So, if your relationships feel heavy right now, maybe it's not love that's weighing you down. Maybe it's enmeshment. And the beautiful thing is, you can untangle it. You can create connections built on freedom instead of fear, on love instead of guilt. Remember, you don't have to lose yourself to be loved. In fact, the more you stand as yourself, the deeper and healthier your relationships will become. Take a breath, reflect, and ask yourself, am I loving freely or am I entangled? That's all for today. If this resonates with you and you're ready to keep unraveling the psychology of your 20s, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a chance to tune in, reflect, and grow with us.